Hello everyone, my name is Akash Roy and today in this session we are going to learn about sexual reproduction in flowering plant. So before we start, let's assume that we are in the mid of a spring season and flowers are blooming everywhere. You can feel that, right? It's a beautiful scene indeed. So as we know, flower is the reproductive part of plant. So before that, let me create a flower. Let me try. So in flower there are mainly two parts, that is stamen and the other one is carp. These are the main reproductive part of a flower. So stamen is the male reproductive part and carpel is the female reproductive part. So let's understand what are the parts of stamen consist. So this is a stamen and the upper portion of stamen is called anther and this elongated portion is called filament, where inside stamen anther there are pollen grains are present. So as the stamen is the male reproductive part, inside pollen grains male gamete is present. Okay, the next thing is carp. Let's draw it. So carpel consists of mainly three parts. The upper portion is called stigma, the middle elongated portion is called style, and this ovary, the third portion is called ovary. So as the female reproductive part, it contains female gametes that is present inside the ovary, inside the ovules that is present inside ovary, right? So when a flower consists both stamen and carpel in a same flower, it's called bisexual flowers. And if a flower contains either stamen or carpel, it's called unisexual flowers. So the example for bisexual flower is China rose and for unisexual flower is cucumber. Okay. So for formation of sexual reproduction, for doing sexual reproduction, the male gamete should fuse with female gamete so that zygote is formed. And for this process, the male gamete that is present inside the pollen, right? The male gamete present inside the pollen should reach up to the stamen, to the stigma of other flower or same flower. And the transfer of pollen is called pollination. So the pollen when reaches up to the stigma of a same flower or different flower. If a pollen lands on the stigma of same flower, it's called self-pollination. And if pollen lands on the stigma of other flower, it's called cross-pollination. And for pollination, there are several agents that work, that like air, wind, and insects that help pollens to reach stigma. Okay, so now once the pollen reaches up to the stigma of a flower, now this pollen grain start emerging pollen tube. This pollen tube goes on elongating and it reaches up to the ovary. Now when it reaches up to ovary, it attaches to the ovule, and after this attachment, now this wall dissolves and the gamete, the male gamete that present inside the pollen grain is released and it comes inside the pollen tube and it goes on and reaches up to the ovule where the female gamete is present. Now the male and female gamete fuse and this fusion is called fertilization. So after fertilization, here zygote is formed. Zygote is formed. So this zygote goes on dividing and it forms embryo. So this embryo which is present inside ovary, inside ovule. So this ovule start creating a tough coat that's converted into seed. And on the other hand, the ovary goes on ripening, and after ripening it's converted into fruit. Now what we have? We have a fruit that contains ovule, and that's ovule, that contains seed, and the seed contains our embryo. So actually this embryo is a baby plant. So this is the process of sexual reproduction. Okay, thank you.